Welcome back to this video, second in the series, where we're setting up a social media AI assisted new concept type thing, going back to the origins of Facebook and searching for friends and, keeping up to date with your friends, looking at what's going on in your local community, that kind of thing, but with AI assistance and possibly with a little bit of matchmaking as well. We're trying out a lot of different things just for the fun of trying to build something like this, seeing how these systems work, seeing how easy it is to set up something like this. So just a quick reminder of the stuff we're going to be setting up today. I'm going to make a Noodle front end. I'm going to set up Pocketbase. I'm going to set up N8N. I'll do a simple vector management tool, simple vector search tool. I already have Qdrant set up in Docker, and Llama is running on my computer in Llama, and Zep is running in the cloud version of Zep. So if you don't know what these things do, in the last video I explained the genesis and conception of the project, and I'm sure I've probably linked to the brief and I'll put some stuff in here about stack and technology used and why. So I wanted to today dive straight into it and start actually getting stuff done. So the first thing we're going to do is set up our Noodle front end. So I'm using OpenNoodl. I'm going to create a new project. You could start with the template if you wanted to, the Noodle starter template, but for Pocketbase, I like to start with the blank template because I'm going to do all the Pocketbase integration myself. It's going to be called Tribu, which means tribe in French. And we are going to stick it in a new folder called Tribu. Oh no, we just need to stick it in here. That's fine. There. I think that creates a Tribu folder. Good. We're going to give it a name. I'm going to call it Tribu. We are going to steal the head code from the Noodle starter template because that is actually important. Head code and the SEO meta tags element. So I'll import that. I'll import that afterwards. But I need the head code. So let's get the head code. Oh crap! No, there is no head code. Okay, never mind. We're going to go to Mr. GPT, and we're going to ask him or her to please give me standard head code for a web application that will give it title, description. I don't have an image yet. For SEO, the site is called Tribu, and it's an AI assisted social network for this is ChatGPT who gave me this amazing project brief and said, find your people. I like that. With the tagline, find your people. So we can actually quit this while that's working, go back into the Tribu. We're going to import two things from the starter template. So if you don't have the starter template, I recommend getting it because then you can go, every time you start a project, you go import from project. One day we will make this easier, I swear. It's really annoying at the moment. We're going to go Noodle starter template, import. We're going to check the components because I want this one. I have a better one. I don't want this one. Check user details, don't care. Format, full name, whatever. Pretty date, yeah. Sanitize email could be useful. Sanitize, we don't have files, so don't care. Set SEO meta tags, N8N, and I think that's all for that. Header navbar, don't care. And then there was something else I wanted. What was it I said I wanted? Sanitize email, set SEO. Oh, from another project, I want something else. So we're going to import that. So it imports the components that I just talked about from another project with the right sheet. That was the name of the sheet in the other project. And then I want to import from this one. I had a really nice, which one was it? Oh, Google icon object. That's a useful one. I think that's also in the starter template, the Google icon object generator. If it isn't, let me know and I'll put it in there. And there was something else I wanted from here. And it was, I've completely forgotten. SEO meta tags. Oh, width test. That was a good one. Yes. To test the page width and helps me to do a responsive app. So take that. So yeah, width test is just a thing where basically it checks what the window width is, and you set the breakpoints for the different sizes, and then as it reaches the different size, it outputs a different signal, and then from that signal you can get it to like change a state on the outside, like go to the tablet state, go to the desktop state, whatever. It's quite a handy one. If you want any of these, I'm in the OpenNoodl Discord. You come in, you ask for it. I will copy paste these things and you paste them into your project. It is that easy with Noodle. You just copy paste what nodes you want to give someone, and you can just paste it, Control V into your project, and they just appear like by magic. So the SEO thing is going to go here at the app level. So set SEO meta tags is like the title, the description, which is here. It's kind of overkill. What you're doing is we're setting a head code that'll give SEO data to crawlers. And we're also using a JavaScript SEO API, which will give data to other crawlers who prefer the JavaScript version, I think. So I've not actually fully tested this, but anyway. So just copy paste that. So it's a website. You see, it's like done all the cool stuff, like the kind of global stuff, like what type of thing is it? What's the title? AI assisted social network, help you connect like-minded people. Perfect. We're going to call it tribu.com. Probably it doesn't exist, but just in case. And there we go. Okay, so that'll do for that part, and then for this part I have to just copy paste the descriptions in there. So Tribu is and what was it? The title was Tribu Find Your People. Okay. Find your people, all caps, why not? People love all caps, don't they? Robots in it. Okay, so Tribu Find Your People. Don't have an image yet, it's a website. Okay, do we have to run that? I can't remember. No, we don't. It just runs automatically. Yeah, it's just a script that runs automatically, I think. Yes, it does. Good, okay. So it uses the Noodle SEO API, which will work, I hope, for multiple. It won't be the best SEO in the world, but the information will be there, and that's what's important. You can also have a sitemap as well. I can't remember if that works or not. Let's turn it on just for fun. So we've got our main page. We're going to switch into side mode, because then I like doing that because it shows me what it's going to look like in mobile or tablet view. And then we're going to flip open our front-end design. And we can already start designing some elements like the bottom bar, the top bar, maybe with the search, like an AI search is always at the top, for example, something like that. But anyway, maybe I shouldn't get into, we've set up the project, it's looking okay. I can go into the start page and delete that hello world, just have a blank page and rename this to home, and we're good to go. So I think I'll leave that for now, and we'll just do the setup. Let's just do the setup, and then we'll dig into the actual app shortly afterwards. So if you wanted to set up other parts of it, like Llama, you just download Llama. So download Llama and type in there we go. So you can install it on your computer either with the installer, you've got a Mac installer, Windows installer, or you can do it on Linux. And then just open the terminal and type in Llama run Llama 3.2. It'll download, I think by default, the 3 billion model. Yeah, you have to specify if you want the 1 billion model. I find that the 3 billion model is really good. I'm running it on a Mac that doesn't have a huge amount of RAM. It's like 16 gigabytes. M1 processor, and it actually runs, it can run in the background, and I never really notice it. So it runs with about 2 or 4 gigabytes of RAM, depending on if it's working or not, if it's actually being used or not. So that's easy to set up, easy peasy. Qdrant, just go to the Qdrant GitHub, and it will show you how to set it up in Docker. I use Docker Compose for most of these things. Find Docker Compose. There we go. So you can copy paste this into copy paste this into ChatGPT, and it'll give you a Docker compose file that you can run. So just create the text file on your computer, save it as docker-compose.yaml, and then you open your terminal, that folder, and you type docker compose up. That's it, and it just runs. So then you have something like this on port 6333 that runs with the collections that you want. I haven't created a collection for our new service yet. That'll happen when we do our first embeddings. So just wait and see. Pocketbase. Let's get Pocketbase running. Easy peasy. So we're going to go to the Pocketbase GitHub. We're going to go to the latest stable release. There are a lot of release candidates, so be careful. And also it's not version 1 yet. So if you're going to follow me and really use Pocketbase, keep in mind that this isn't the final public release version. This is still in heavy development, and it's having new versions released all the time, not necessarily with backwards compatibility. So once we get to V1, it'll be stable and you can really run the V1. But I mean, version 22.23, I've ran that already, I think. No, I haven't, because it was only 5 days ago. I think I was on 22.22 for the last project I did, and it runs fine, and you don't need to necessarily update it or change it. So we're going to download the Darwin, which is Mac, ARM64, because I'm on an M1 chip. And we're going to crack it open. And we're going to do open terminal at folder. And we're going to do where's the easy setup? Docs. There it is. This one line, that's all you need. So you've downloaded it, you've extracted it, you don't even have to look at it, it's just one file. And just type in Pocketbase serve. And it is not done. Oh, come on. So if you're on a Mac, then you have to open up your security settings. Privacy and security. I don't know why they keep changing the names all the time. Allow anyway. So I've allowed going to privacy security. I have to click allow anyway, and then it will work. So now I've got this dashboard that I can go and have a look at. And we'll type in my email, random password. And okay. And there we go. So we've got a backend up and running. We've got a users collection. We're going to create a posts collection. We're going to create a, I don't know what collection. We'll create lots of different things. But mainly it's going to be users and posts for that beginning. We haven't done any database architecture yet, but we'll get around to that. Okay, what else are we missing in our stack? So we've got Llama running, we've got Pocketbase running. Oh, N8N. So you're going to want to probably put N8N in the same category as Qdrant, put it in a Docker compose file and just have it run with Qdrant in the Docker compose file. So then you can get something like this. So you've got your N8N homepage. It'll ask you to create a username and password, and then you add your first workflow, and we are in. And we're going to do probably a webhook based workflow. Even though it's a chatbot, it's still going to be webhook based. We're not making an interactive chat system like you can do with N8N. We're going to use the pure webhook version. So that's good. Where are we? We've got N8N set up. We've got Zep. So I've signed up for a Zep cloud account, and I've got Tribu as a project, and I've taken my project key, which is important for when we're setting up N8N, as you'll see in a minute. So that's good. I think that's all. I've already got an OpenAI account. I've got $10 in it, which you need to get started, and I have a key for that project as well. So that's all good. I think we're good to go. So once we start setting things up, we will be able to start sending posts through to Pocketbase and to the vector management system, and then we'll start querying them afterwards. So where to start first? I would suspect we should create a collection in Pocketbase. That would be a good place to start. So let's create a collection called post. For fields, we're going to have a text field that is content. We're going to have a, so we have a created ID. Yeah, we don't have a created by, so we need a created by field, which is going to be a relational field. Created by, and it's going to relate to the user. It's a single relation, so one user creates one post is created by one user can create multiple posts. I guess that's pretty much it for now. If we're just doing text, then we just need content and who created it. Yeah. Now I guess the big question is going to be, how are you going to find a post that's within your friend's circle? So I guess what we want to do is, well, let's not think about that straight away. Let's just get the user set up properly. So going to users, we need a first name, a last name, avatar, whatever if you want. And that's probably about it. Oh no, well, I know what we need. So we're going to save that. Oh, if any of the collection changes as part of a collection rule. Oh no, it's not, whatever, don't care. Should we create a profile then? Yeah, we should make a profile so that we can keep that possibly separate from the user. Yeah, that's just it just feels like that would be a good idea. So we're going to do a public profile, and we're going to do a private profile. Is it wise to keep public profile and private profile in the same place? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Content. And we're going to create a Boolean field. How do I get this away? Remove. We're going to create a Boolean field that is public or not. So if it's public, we can search for it. We're going to do a search that only returns public content and a separate search that only returns private content. That means that when say I'm on the front end part and I do a query to the backend and say, hey, show me anything, show me this user's profile, it's only going to return things that are public equals true. And we can protect that by having the search performed within init-n instead of in the front end. So I'm not going to query with public equals true from the front end where somebody could potentially inject a false in there and find their private profile. We're going to send a request to init-n and say, show me the public profile of this person. init-n is only designed to show public profiles, so it will only return public information. And the private profile search will be done internally in init-n through the vector search. So I think that's a good idea. I think. So, and then of course the owner. User, single user, done. Cool. Okay, so those are the two main kind of content points of the site. Either you're searching through posts to find things that you would like to see, information you would like to see, or you're searching through profiles to find people who might be similar to you or similar to a particular search that you're doing. And then the user just stores authentication, first name, last name, and nothing else. So I think that's good. In terms of Pocketbase, we're good. In terms of init-n, we are going to set up a vector inputting system. So when a post is created or updated or deleted, we're going to send a request to init-n and say, I want you to do something with this. So it will come through with the content of the post, the person who created it, maybe some more metadata. I don't know if we're going to put in who their friends are or something like that. But anyway, it's going to come in and it's going to be received as pure content. So we need to put it into fields. So we're going to get pure content, and through here we're going to make a field called chat input, which is necessary for, I'll show you why it's necessary. The AI agent, a tools agent, is going to need to have not the chat input. Chat input automatically formats the input as chat input session ID, but we actually want to do it manually. We're going to put in chat input, which is coming from the first webhook node. We're going to put in session ID. All has to be in camel case, has to be the same way it's written here. And we're going to put in user ID, which I think has to also be like this for Zep, if I remember right. So that's all we're going to put through here. So we're going to format the webhook data. And then we're going to put that through a chat agent. So the first chat agent is going to be very, very simple. It's going to use Llama, and it's going to, so you'd have to set up your Llama account, or your Llama account. So create a credential and just put in, for a local running version, you just put in localhost :11434 is the port that it's by default running on, unless you've changed it. HTTP, because we're on our local machine. And so that should connect you to Llama. And if it works, you'll see the model that you've downloaded here, 3.2 latest, which is the 3B model. You can mess around with all sorts of different things if you want, temperature and top K and whatever, but we're not going to do that. All we want this model to do is your task is to take a user's input in the field chat input and what was it that I did before? Made that work. Oh yes, oops, I don't even need to write that. Silly me. User's input, and we're going to take the user's input from a defined field, which will be json.chat input. Your task is to take a user's input and format it in a way that would be appropriate for a vector similarity search. You must format the input in a way that maximizes the chances of retrieving similar information from the vector store. Something like that. We can improve it and we can test it and see how it works. So this is the embedding prompt creator. It's going to create the prompt. We don't need memory because we're not. So why use a tools agent if we're not using tools or memory? Because the conversational agent has a ton of system message stuff and like pre-made inputs that I don't want. So I'm not going to use that. So let's go straight then into a vector search with Qdrant. I'll get it right one day. And this is the vector. Oh no, this is vector management. What am I talking about? I'm in the middle of creating, so we're going to rename this vector search. Sorry, so it's not. I was thinking, is this the right one? It is the right one. So we're going to do a Qdrant vector store. You add your Qdrant account. You can do that by you have an API key normally that's set up with Qdrant in the Docker Compose file. It's under here. So Qdrant _service _API _key for whatever reason, and then super secret key, whatever you want. And that is the key that you'll use for this part where you're putting in an API key. And this will be useful later if you want to deploy this publicly or something. But just in case, to keep it as safe as possible, API key. And then have that at, we're running init and Qdrant in the same Docker container. Therefore, you don't use localhost because there is no localhost. You use whatever the name was you gave to the service, which here is Qdrant. That's how it's understood locally in Docker. So it's http://Qdrant:6333. If you were running Qdrant outside of the container, then you would do host.docker.internal, and that would be Docker looking at the local host of the machine that it's running on, but we're not going to do that. So we don't need that. So that's all you need for that, and you save that and it should say success. Go away, I don't need that. And then you will be able to get documents. So we're going to retrieve documents. We're doing a similarity search. we'll choose the list. So you'll see your list in this drop down. And we are going to not at the moment use the query filters, but that's going to be really important later when we want to query things that are specifically to do with a particular group of friends. Some find things that are from a particular group of friends. So we're going to do a should or a must search that comes up with things that are, you know, within an array of IDs of friends as owners that shows only your friends' posts, for example. So we'll come back to that later. But that's essentially how we're going to set up the, oh no. No, excuse me. It's retrieve documents for AI processing is a tool for a tools agent. Getting ranked documents from vector store is what we actually wanted. Same thing, same setup. Retrieve documents for AI. It's just going to work in as a node in the chain rather than a tool. So we choose our list and then we do the search results and whatever. Oh no, I'm talking nonsense again. Get many. I'm still talking nonsense. So the prompt is actually going to be something we enter manually. Excuse me. So we don't want the AI to actually search for that. So we're going to link that up. So the AI is not searching for, if it was a tool, just to explain, so you can understand why I'm not crazy or like not that much. Vector store tool is a tool that the tools agent can use, and you give it a name and a description, and then it'll search the Qdrant vector store to find what you need. And so in that case, it's retrieve documents from AI. So that's when you want the agent to be able to go and look for something to then use that in its context before it gives its answer. But this agent is just making the prompt, so we don't need that. So we're not going to use these things. We're going to use a step where the prompt that it creates will be the prompt that goes in here, which will be json.prompt and no, just JSON, sorry. JSON.output, I think it is. We just want the pure output because it'll output like a nice little phrase that we need to put in here. And we're going to limit it to, say, 5 for the moment. We'll get 5 posts back that we can show the user. And we choose our list. So once that has come back, then we can create another agent that is going to summarize the posts that have been retrieved from the vector store based on the user's input. User input is, and then we do like something like this. I can't remember, webhook dot whatever. I'll figure that out later. Once we have the input, we'll be able to copy paste things in here way more easily. Oh, I know why. That's why. So yeah, excuse me. We have to switch it to expression mode, and then we can do webhook dot item dots, and then whatever we've put in, say it's JSON dot chat input or something like that. We just have to figure out what schema has been is in the webhook. I think it's that. It's JSON dot maybe dot body dot chat input or something like that, because we're sending it as a JSON body. We'll see, but imagine it could be something like that. And then results from vector store, and then we'll put down here the JSON from that we just got in from the vector store there. So that would be how we would structure the AI agent. So summarize the posts, retrieve from the vector store based on user input, and explain which post most matches the user's request and why. So this would be for post searching. I haven't done one for, I'm not doing one for profile searching yet. So once that is done, then we're going to return from the webhook the JSON. We're going to structure it to say what the chat output is and what the results are. And we're going to put in the results from one of the previous steps there. So we're going to put in the JSON. No, we're going to put in the Qdrant vector store, whatever it is, item output, something like that. JSON, for example. I don't exactly know how it is outputted, but we'll find out later. So that will return that to the front end in Noodle, where we can display the chat output to the user as a message, and also find those results in Pocketbase, and then show those, or filter those posts that the user already had. that we're going to download in advance. When the user loads up the website, we'll filter it out and we'll show them immediately the posts, because they're going to have to wait a few seconds for Llama to find the stuff that we're looking for. So we don't want them to wait longer for a Pocketbase query. So it'd be good if we could maybe load up Pocketbase posts in advance of doing that, but we might not be able to. It might still have to do some queries. We'll see. So that looks good. So that's a good RAG retrieval system. Now what I want to do is do the attribute vector embedding. So this is going to be a webhook. We're going to receive data from, I should actually have made the other one post as well. We're going to receive data from so we're going to receive data from Noodl that tells us that a post is either to be created, updated, or deleted. And we're going to use the response to webhook node to respond to it. No, we're going to do it immediately. We're not going to use that. Yeah, we're just going to respond and say everything's okay. We've received the webhook, and now we're going to process the thing that you've sent. So we're going to use a vector store tool, and that's going to be Qdrant, and it's going to be add documents to the vector store. We're going to use the same account we used before. We're going to insert documents, and we're going to choose the list. We're going to make a new list, sorry, because we haven't got a list yet. So we're going to make a list. It's going to be called attribute posts. Should we have two different lists? Should we have one list for posts and one list for profiles? Or should we get all of the stuff mixed up in one list and then say, show me somebody who has a profile with the interests I like, but also regularly posts stuff that I like as well? Or should we do two different searches, one for profile and one for posts, and then merge them and see where are there similarities there, where this profile also has several posts that you would really like? I'll think about it, but let's say that we probably should separate them for now. That would be something I think would be important. Yeah, profiles. So attribute profiles will go into one list, and then there'll be another Qdrant node that'll put things into the attribute posts list somewhere. Now this part is super important. No, it isn't. This part is not important. This is the collection config, which could be important if you want to mess around with like how many dimensions there are, what kind of, is it a cosine embedding or whatever, which I have no idea about, so I'm not going to do that. Now what we're interested in is the embedding model, which is going to be OpenAI. We're going to choose so you set up your account again, API key from OpenAI, and you want to choose, I think Ada is good because it worked for me on another project. I don't know any of the stuff, so I just do the embedding with Ada. And the document, we're going to load it. The document is going to be the post that we just received. So we're loading the input data, yes. Specific data possibly, yes. We're going to load specific data because we're going to send over lots of information. We're going to have the content, the user's ID, when they posted it, why, etc., whatever. So we're going to specify the data here from the webhook. That we want to put in. So it's going to be webhook.item.json.body. whatever, say content. And then we're also going to specify metadata, and this is super important. This is when you store things in a Qdrant vector store, you have the content, which is like, say, the text of the post. You know, today I lost my cat at McDonald's. That's vectorized. So that's turned into vectors in a huge number of dimensions that a AI would be able to match with something that a user has said, like, has anyone seen my cat? That will, in a vector similarity search, come up with that post that we just put in. Now, you can also store metadata so that when the AI retrieves that stuff from the vector store, it doesn't just get, has anyone seen, I found a cat at McDonald's. It gets the user who said that, their user ID, when they said it, whatever the hell you want, it gets that information back, and it can use that as context as well. So the data part is what do you want to load in as actual vectorized content that will come up as a search tool that basically can be queried by an AI. And the metadata is the part that will come back after the vector search is completed. It'll come back with metadata that you can use then in further bits of your, like what I'm going to use when it returns the data to Noodle. I want to be able to filter to find those post IDs in my list of posts, or do a query in Pocketbase. So the metadata is going to be stuff like owner, and that'll be again from the webhook. So we're going to get in the webhook the data like the owner. I'm going to have to set all of this up afterwards, by the way, so you have to remember what I've typed here. I'm trying to keep it all standardized. And whatever else you want, it could be the content will come back with the vector search. So we're going to want to do something like, I don't know, create a date maybe, something like that. Yes, create a date, and I know, and you know why create a date? Because it's really important to have the date in there, so that if you want to do, I showed you earlier the search queries, you could query stuff, like if the user says, oh, I only want to see things that are, you know, within the last week, then you can query for create a date is greater than today minus 7 days. So that's important. So we're going to do that as well with the webhook data. It's going to be created at, I think is how they named that in Pocketbase. So stuff like that. That'll do for now. So that's going to load the document up, and then we need to say how we're going to split the document. So I do it by recursive character text splitter, I think, or was it token splitter? I can't remember. But I give it a pretty big chunk size because, well, let's say you shouldn't give it a huge chunk size, but let's say like 500, 600 is okay, and we'll do a bit of an overlap. It means that the text will be chunked up into 600 tokens, whatever, however that's calculated by the embedding model, and it will make it overlap by 50 each way. So you'll have a little bit of the start of the next one, and the start of the next one will have a little bit of the end of the last one, or something like that. So that will hopefully get us a good result, but this is where the experimentation will come in, where you'll do your query, you'll see that it doesn't come back right, you'll look at what came back, and you'll see, okay, maybe that text is a bit long. Give the text to ChatGPT, say, here's the text. I'm using Ada. It's, you know, with 1,000 whatever dimensions. Why do you think this text didn't come with this prompt input? What, you know, what have I done wrong? And that's how I managed to, the last time, to succeed with my project, was getting advice from ChatGPT. Helped me realize that the Llama embedding model was not working, and that it would be better to try Ada. Probably because they wanted me to spend money on OpenAI. Who knows? But anyway, we're not going to go down that road. So we do the document embedding, and then that's pretty much it. Now, what we haven't done here is actually said when we're going to delete, or oh, that's what we need to do. If we want to be able to delete something, then we also need to store the post ID. So we actually need to save the object ID of the post. I think it's just ID in Pocketbase world. So so that when we store, you know, if this gets chunked up, if someone does a long post, it gets chunked up into 3 bits. I need to know which bits to delete if I get through the request to delete. So we need to put a switch in here as well, and say that if the operation is equal to create, then we do a create output. If the operation is equal to update, we do an update. And if the operation is equal to delete, we do delete, right? We don't need to do read here because it's in the other workflow. That's all. And I think we can we output the rest of the, no, it's fine. Okay, there's no fallback case because we know what we're doing. So we'll put this back here, and then, oh yeah, we want to rename the outputs. So create, update, delete. Don't want to just be like 0, 1, 2, it's a bit boring. So this is creates, update is going to be probably finding the original embeddings, deleting them. Yeah, so we're going to do, yeah, okay, I see. So we're going to have a Qdrant deletion one as well. How do we delete documents? I thought it was actually easy to do that. No. Okay, I'm going to go away and research how you delete documents. I haven't done that yet. but obviously not available in here, I don't think. Yeah, so I'll have a think about that. And maybe it has to be done with an API HTTP node where you actually call the server and specifically ask for something to be deleted. So we'll leave that for now. So that'll be, so the create one is going to go straight here. The update one is going to first go to the delete and then go here to add it. And the delete is just going to go to the delete and nowhere else. So we're going to need to manage that as well with switches again. So probably going to delete and then having another switch to make sure which action it was, whether we should just stop or whether we should go to the insertion one. And that's probably okay for now. So this is really easy because all we've got is text coming through. We haven't got documents that we need to split up into, binary, or not binary, split up into XML or something if it's a Word document. So this is actually a pretty straightforward embedding tool. And that's pretty much it for now. Once we start calling this webhook endpoint from the front end, we're going to start storing posts in here, and then that'll enable us to retrieve them through a search. When we type in a search, send it here, it's going to get converted into a prompt, and then we're going to look through the Qdrant store to find something similar, and then return that to the user with the results, the top five results. One really important point here: when you're retrieving your vectorized data, you must use the same embedding as what you use to put it in. So choose Ada if you used Ada, choose Llama if you use Llama, whatever, but you have to use the same one. Now, the stuff that I've looked up says you can use ones that just have the same number of dimensions, but also that it just depends on how the model was trained, whether it's going to really be accurate finding it or not. The most accuracy you're going to get is exactly the same model that embeds as retrieves, right? But the chat model itself can just be Llama. You're going to save a lot of money using a local Llama as the model that creates the prompt and summarizes and thinks about what it's going to say to the user. That's going to save you a lot of precious money and time. Don't forget about using zip for the memory. You just have to hook it up and put in your API key and select cloud if you're using cloud. Easy peasy. And it doesn't need any tools unless you want to add some tools, like you needed to do a calculation, or maybe you needed to do an HTTP call somewhere to get information back and use that in its context. But for this, we actually have the information coming through to the agent. We don't need to use a tool to retrieve it. The agent's going to receive it in the prompt, in the system prompt that we're giving it. So yeah, that's pretty much it set up for the searching and for the inputting. Now, in the next video, we will talk about how to actually set up the Noodl side. So we've done quite a lot of backend. We need to set up the front end, and also work on end-to-end workflows for privacy that can safely retrieve things from Pocketbase without any risk that somebody could inject something to find out private information or something from users of the app. So I think that's good for now. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you in the next saga.